Welcome to another episode of Planet Nerdtooine podcast. I am your host, Nerdtooine. We do a great assortment of comic book content here. We do comic book critiques, comic book news, anything regarding comic books. We do it here. So that's your jam. Do us a favor, like, share, subscribe. It will help us out tremendously. The algorithms be algorithm, and they don't like us sometimes, and other people. But without further ado, let's introduce the amazing Year of the Collector.
What's up? What's up?
Not much, man. I mean, my last 24 hours have been, let's just say, interesting. I'm kind of on still in vacation mode. I've been off for my regular job for a few days now since this was my birthday yesterday. I said, you know what? I
Yeah,
don't go to
happy
my regular
birthday.
job.
Yeah, happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
everybody in the chat. Happy birthday to Kyle.
Stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been a while. We took an additional little hiatus. It wasn't too long, it was just an extra week. Because this guy
I
over
was
here
dying,
decided to
basically.
almost die on us. Like, holy crap. And not for nothing, but for some reason, he still had this crazy idea that he still had to make a What Is Year's issue, and which we'll play later today. We saved it so that we could kind of get his reaction to his deathbed voice. Because here,
There's,
listen to him now. When you hear that later on in the episode, you'll be like, "Oh,
there
I see
was
what he means."
there was no voice acting in that recording. That was just my current situation at the time.
I can barely breathe, but I'm still gonna talk about Hawkgirl and Hawkwoman.
And then
Screw that.
you can hear me huffing and puffing in between takes. So
Oh man. But it's good to see that you're back in good health. It's never want to hear about any of the comic community falling ill, but especially one of your best friends and co-hosts. You definitely don't want them falling ill. So with all of that said, we have a jam-packed episode this week. Buckle up, get yourself some snacks, some drinks, because you're gonna be here for a while. But we always do break it down by little chapters in the YouTube video. So if you do want to jump around, it's more than welcome to. We have it clearly listed on what topic we're talking about that specific time. So if you want to do a little hop, skippity jump, by all means, we do that for you to do that. Don't think we'll be like, oh my God, so many people just skip to a different section. No, if you want to watch something specific, go watch it. We're here no matter what. So
yeah.
but first topic we're going to talk about today is something that we've mentioned a few times, and I've had very vocal disagreements with the practices that are going on with it before now. But I think now we have to once again talk about this issue because it's happening and it's hurting a lot of different people. Um, we've talked about how the comic book community, it kind of just goes in waves, and then something gets really hot, and then everybody's doing it. And the trend that we're talking about, right, you're going to be talking about now, is these blind bags.
Blind bags.
So, I want to start off by saying I am a creator. I have done exclusives. I'm in the industry, and from this side, I get it. I get it because it's a gimmick that everyone is into right now, and it almost guarantees you're either going to sell out or come close to selling out. So I don't want what we say next to make it seem like we don't understand what the reason is behind the thought process in doing these. It's more about the practices that it's birthing that is the real problem, and there are a couple other little issues, but what we're going to talk about is what people are doing with these blind bags. And
So
go ahead.
let's backtrack here. So blind bags, it's like Kyle was saying, is a gimmick to to sell comics. You could have a different variants inside the blind bag. You could have different incentives like trading cards, or we call them chasers because
Yeah,
the more you buy, the higher the chances you're gonna get of you know
supposedly.
right, supposedly, of opening up or getting the variant that you wanted, right? The first one this year, I want to say, was Battle Beast.
That was the first. No, well, I mean, all right. So let's backtrack a little even further than that. So Battle Beast was one of the first ones where I had to say something. I kept my mouth shut with the blind bags that the Daredevil, the Captain America, the Red Hulks, that whatnot did,
Well, those were like
because those are the same.
blind packages. Like you inside each package, each inside each bag, you get like multiple books, right?
Right.
But single books, blind bags,
The
this
Invincible
year,
was the first. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Battle Beast. Then it was Exquisite Courses, which those are still coming out.
Well, but let's
I'm
pause
talking
right
about like
there.
single book blind bags.
What right, but
That's
I wanna distinguish with Exquisite Corpses, theirs wasn't a different variant, it was just a card, and you could potentially get a better card, so it's not
well,
that
it is
that
a variant. Like the
well
colors
right, right,
of the cover
but
are like
every blind bag is the
offset.
same.
It's basically a white background variant of the same main cover, but the incentive inside the blind bag is that you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting a foil trading card, right?
Yeah,
Um, then the next one to be announced was, I want to say, DC Comics with their Batman #1, and that one just came out this week. And that's the reason why we're
yeah,
bringing this up again. We're gonna get into that in a second. The next one to be announced, that is still months away, is from Marvel, and is Ultimate Endgame, which is gonna
yep,
it's like a conclusion or a resolution event for what the Ultimate series have been building up to. That one, from the reports that I said, and I think it was, I read it on in Bleeding Cool. It said that there was gonna be up to 17 different covers inside the blind bags that are completely secret. That you're like, they're not gonna be solicited. They're not gonna be announced. That you're gonna have 17 different chances of opening up one of those blind bags and getting a book that you never seen before, right? So that's like,
and that's
everyone is
important to what we're
adding,
gonna talk about later too. That is a
right?
very important part of what we're gonna talk about later.
Everybody has been adding a layer to the gimmick, right? Like Battle Beast had not just multiple different variants, but blank variants. There was supposed to be like a 1 in 1,000 ratio cover inside those blind bags. Then Squeezy Corsets added the trading card, right? Because the comic itself is gonna spawn a tabletop game with
Yep,
trading cards, right? And you either could like cut it out of the back cover on the last page of the any issue, any variant whatsoever, or you could get the blind bag and get in the
get
run
the actual
to
card.
chase not just the card itself, but a foil
Mhm.
version of that card, right? And then this week you had the gimmick from DC, which was
Batman #1.
Batman #1. Every single book inside a blind bag was going to be a foil variant,
Yeah,
right? A lot of these variants were available in just cardstock material, right? But there were going to be some variants that were going to be only available in the blind bags, like the bat logo, the bat symbol logo cover,
I hate those
um,
covers.
the Virgin variant version of the main cover with
Mhm.
no titles, no nothing. That, right? There was a few that was exclusively gonna be found inside a blind bag, but there was others that you could get it. You could get just the regular cardstock cover, um, or you could get it. You could run your chance and get a foil variant of it, right? And then
There's also
now
the
you
Mark
have this,
Spears ones too, the Mark Spears Monsters one's coming out next month as well.
right?
And
And
they're
then
selling those like, literally, vendors are selling them, like, ahead of time with, like, buy 10, buy 5, buy 20. It's like these vendors are buying a crap ton, and I really hope that they, for their sake, that people buy them.
You said the monsters are coming out with blind bag next month. I was not
Yep.
aware of that one, but the other wrinkle to this gimmick that Marvel is adding is that their blind bags, and this is from the first reporting, is gonna be completely blind. You're not even gonna know what's in there. And if we start talking about our issues with this stuff, like let's start from the last to the first. Like let's go backwards. My issue with the Marvel blind bags, right? If things are gonna stay the way they've been reported, is that I don't I don't like that there's not gonna be like a main cover, a B cover, a C cover, and then the blind bags. No, everything's gonna be inside a blind bag, right? And as a
Get it.
collector, if I'm only like reading the issue casually and I just want the main cover to follow along the event, if I don't get the opportunity to just buy the main cover and come home and avoid gambling with my money on
Right.
a variant cover, or gambling on getting a cover that I don't like. Um, I don't I don't like that. Like I
Right.
want to have at least the choice of picking something that I want instead of like spending money on a gamble.
Right.
And that like comes back to the same thing with the Batman um blind bags. When Batman #1 was announced, I'm not a huge Batman fan. Like I don't follow along everything that comes out, but I do collect the bat symbol foil covers, right? Like I have like the Darkest Night, I have the Zurinar Batman, I
Right.
have the glitch Batman from like the Batman film, right? And then I was like, okay, I'm not gonna collect the run or follow on the scenes, but I would like to add that other bat symbol to my collection. And when I heard that the only way I was gonna get that was through blind bags, I was like, okay, I'm out,
Right.
because the blind bags are $10. They're
Yeah.
$9.99 retail price, right? And I'm
Well, they're
gonna
all
go spend.
foils. They have to be $10.
Well, okay,
Don't get
sure,
don't
sure,
don't
sure.
get me listen, don't get me started on that shit, okay?
So imagine, and then my problem is, okay, at least Batman had a couple of variants that you could
Yeah.
pick from the shelves, right? And then if you wanted the foil of those, then you have to take that gamble.
Right.
My issue with the blind bags is that there were too many that were going to be inside the too many that were going to be foil inside of those blind bags, and a lot of those I did not like the art or the artists per se. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, I see there's like a David Aja, a J. Scott Campbell, a Jim Lee, like stuff that looks cool that I would like to have. But there was a lot of other stuff that I'm not a fan of, and I'm not willing to spend $10
Right.
and get something I don't like.
No,
Right?
and then what always happens is, let's say $10 is what the blind bag is, no matter what the rarity is, when they open it, they're going to charge more than $10 for the covers. So now you're going to be forced, if you wanted to wait for like a whole bunch of people to open them and then to sell them again, you're then going to have to upcharge yourself just to be
Yeah.
able to get them, because no one's going to go, well, I spent at least $10 on these.
Yeah.
I want to make some money off it, and it's just a vicious circle that just keeps it's just cycling and cycling and cycling, and it's gonna kill the community. It really is. I mean,
Yeah, I want to say at least for Batman, I know for a fact that a bunch of the local comic book stores here order a bunch of them, so you're not gonna run into like issues with scalpers in this general area, right? Like my LCS had like like a whole section in the wall with just those blind bags, so they're gonna be there for a while, right? If I happen to find $10 on the street, you know, next this weekend, trust me, I'll be there, gambling, easy
right,
money. But
free money, man. Why not? You know what I mean?
right,
I get that. Yeah, yeah.
right. But again, if you're balling in a budget like me, and $10 for just a foil variant that you might
Not even
might
like.
not like or love, it's a stretch for me, right? And
Agreed.
and
Yeah.
and
Especially when
it,
you could spend that $10 on a Here Walks Monsters original comic. Sorry,
so for
I
some
kept
indie
hearing 10 in
creator,
my head. Like I'm like, wait a minute, that's what most indie creators charge for their titles.
with those
So
$10, I could have bought two copies of main cover Batman #1 and probably flip those in 10 years.
yep.
Because in the history of Batman, there's only been four #1s, right? I'm not giving you a financial advice if you're watching,
Hold on,
but
let me go order.
but that it is what it is. And then we backtrack from that, we go to exquisite courses, right? I decided to jump on the blind bags for to chase, not necessarily to chase the foil trading cards, but I wanted to get a copy of a blind bag for me and one for my wife, so we both could have the trading cards. So
Really?
when they're all out and they finally come out with the game, I can play with my wife. And she's reading the story too. She's big on horror, as you know.
Oh yeah.
So we're both consuming this and collecting it for not just trying to get those foil trading cards. Which Image, I haven't got one
I've
yet,
got one.
so
I've only gotten one. I've gotten
I'm
one
gonna need
out
you.
of.
I'm gonna need you guys to send more of those foil
See, and
trading cards to my area, so see if I can finally get one.
that's why I like when we were talking about the one your 1 in 10 chance. That's what they say, but I'm not buying that because I know personally I've had a couple friends that have literally bought 10 of each because they're resellers. So they're gonna get some money back anyway. So they said, "Oh fuck it, I'm just gonna go. Oh, there's first F bomb of the night." And buy 10 because that should guarantee me a foil trading card. Still
Right?
to this day, they have not gotten one. I have
That's
ordered a
crazy.
single issue of each one of them, and I have not gotten the one for this week. The most recent Exquisite Corpses in because my LCS didn't have any of the blind bags, so I had to order one off eBay.
Okay.
But I've only pulled one. So I on every we're now this is now the 3 issues. I pulled one foil, and I
Yeah.
know of two being pulled. Period. Like out of all the retailers I know, all the people who are buying it, I know of two that have been
Yeah.
found. Like if
Yeah.
you look on
No,
eBay, like they are literally someone who's selling ripped. Like it's the issue and the card for $75.
that's crazy. The foil card.
Yeah.
Damn. That's oof.
What?
That's
But
no. That's a lot.
to talk about exclusive courses for a second in terms of these blind bags, the one thing that's different with them is that the cover itself, every blind bag cover is the exact same. So all you're chasing is the extra, the card.
Yeah. Not. It's not exactly the same. It's only has, instead of black, it's white.
No,
It's
I mean in the all the ones inside the blind bags
Yeah,
are all
yeah,
the
that's what I'm
same.
saying. No, 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 no. They're not. They're not. They have like a slight differences in either the coloring of the front cover, or something about the title is different. It has like a slight variation
From the
um,
cover A.
from the cover A. It's the same
Right.
art. It's the same
No,
art,
no, what I
but
okay. What I just to be clear, what I was saying was each one of the covers that's in the blind bags is the same.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's what
There's
I was
no there's no
saying.
multiple variants inside the blind bag. Right, 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 right.
Just because I got confused, I make sure everyone else isn't confused. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. You're telling me that there's different covers in the blind
No.
bags? Wait a second.
No, no, no,
My
no,
whole
no,
life
no.
is a lie. No, but yeah, and again, as someone who is even thinking of doing possible blind bags in the future now because of this,
They're
as a
hot,
business
right?
person, I
They're
get
hot.
it.
When if something starts in the indies and it transitions, um, it crosses over, like gimmicks. If something starts in the indies and you see Marvel in DC adopting it, it's hot.
Yeah,
It's flying off the shelves, right? Because the big two don't typically follow trends unless there's money to be made. That's how
right.
this gimmick is back, right? Because if Image was doing it and many other indie was doing it, right, you could have called us one-offs, or
Right.
people are like trying stuff out. But once it reaches the big two, it's back. It's fully back, right?
Yeah.
Um, So if we move back from Exquisite Courses to Battle Beast, Battle Beast was an even crazier one because it was nothing but variants inside those blind bags, right?
Right.
And you have the option to buy just the main cover. Um, there were rumors that there was supposed to be some ratios inside there, like 1 in 100, 1 in 500, 1 in 1000. We don't know how true that was because Image didn't actually put out a press release stating that. It was something that some retailer said or some creator said. Maybe Mark Bagley said that, or Kurtman said that. Somebody from Image, and it spread out there, and people kept hearing about it. I don't know how true it was, but it's something that was floating out there. Battle Beast was a crazy chaser because we personally know people that bought 4 or 5 blind bags and they ended up getting 1, 2, 3 blank covers,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't I don't like that Image put blank covers inside blind bags.
Right.
I saw that as um, a terrible idea as a retailer and as a consumer, right? Like imagine, yeah, I couldn't be. I'm not gonna name nobody, right? Because like it's somebody that they put this like on the social media. But if you know, you know, I couldn't be there and open 5 blind bags, get 3 blank covers, and be happy with that as a
Yeah. No,
collector,
definitely.
as a consumer, as a fan. That's terrible luck. and
Yep.
and and, and and I'm just not a gambling person. I don't play the lottery. I don't go to bingo games. Like I keep every dollar. I spend every dollar. I don't gamble like
Right.
that.
No, I feel you. I feel the same
And
way. Yeah.
yeah, and seeing other people get multiple blind bags from like their bulk, that just kept me even more away
Yeah.
from diving into blind bags. So, you know, if I had the money to spend like that, maybe this conversation will be different. But since I buy pools on a budget every week, I have to stay away from that, right? I can't
Yeah.
just take the chance on spending $10 or whatever. I don't know that Battle Beast was $10. Maybe not.
Battle Beast, I think retail. I think was 7, if I'm not
Six ninety
mistaken.
nine, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was 6, if I'm not
Okay,
mistaken.
it's
I
it's a
didn't buy
little
any out
less
the store.
still.
Even I listen. We talked about this. Even I got the blind bag issue with the Battle Beast. Because in my head, for some reason, and I will admit this is my mistake, 100%. No one misled me. I just I don't know where I got it in my head that it was more than one copy in there. So I bid up on a
I
show, and
remember.
and I and I spent $20 on one. I was like, wait, there's only
You
one.
know what it was? You know what it was?
It was fresh off the
Like
whatnot shit with
because of
the
the whatnot blind bags that Marvel was doing for Daredevil and who else
Captain.
was it?
It was Daredevil, Captain America, and Red Hulk. I think they've done
Red
now.
Hulk. Yeah, those blind bags had 3 copies,
Yeah,
3 different copies in there. So maybe you thought Battle Beast was doing
and
the same.
again, and full transparency, my fault. Now, I'm not blaming no one for that, but
Yeah.
um, and that's another thing we don't see a lot of when people like get crapped on with these blind bags. They kind of just like sulk and just keep it to themselves. Like they'll complain to their friends and they'll say something like that, but they won't come out and really go, "What the hell?" You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, and I think, and I'm starting to see now, a little bit that when those books that are pulled get resold, no one's buying them
Hmm.
because the prices that people are asking for them, no one wants to pay them. And
Yeah.
I've been very impressed. Like, because I'll go look occasionally, like those the Daredevil ones, the ones that were keys.
Yeah. So for anybody that's watching, the Marvel blind bags that they were doing for Red Hulk, um, Daredevil, and whoever else, they were facsimiles or facsimile foils or reprints of all variants that had come out from where like Muse first appears
Yeah,
or the Red Hulk first appears, stuff like that. So the resale. value of a lot of those books is very slim to none months later, because they're basically second, third prints or facsimiles of
Yeah.
the books that might actually be worth something. So, you know, more power to you if you bought those and you have them in the collection and you love them. Hey, shout out
Right.
to you. But if you were looking at those like they were like the real deal, oh, this is just a first print or another variant or whatever, it might not be the case. You might want to look into those a little bit
Yeah.
harder. But uh, bringing it back to why we decided to talk about this, and I'm gonna pass it over to you. The blind bags for Batman became a problem because retailers jumped the gun
Yep.
on these blind bags. And go ahead, I'm gonna let you explain what happened.
So what happened was, um, so what some retailers, it depends on when you get your shipments. Could be early in the morning, could be a few days before certain other stores. It really just depends on when you got them. These retailers were opening the boxes, hopping right onto platforms, not just Whatnot. So I'm not saying this is Whatnot's fault, because it's not. Um, they might be at fault for some other things, but this is not their fault. Um, because they were also doing it on Instagram and Facebook. I saw it everywhere, where they were selling them last week. That book came out yesterday. Okay. So, and they actually DC, I think it was, no, was it DC or the distributor?
And they weren't just doing, okay, let me clarify. They weren't just doing pre-sales,
Right.
because
No, no, I was gonna,
you see this online with like on eBay, on other websites with like online stores. They get the inventory and they sell strictly, specifically, and only through the internet, right? So they will have a pre-sale and they will have the date the book comes off, right? So you can buy it ahead of time and they'll ship it to you so you can get it the day that comes out, or
right.
they'll ship it around that day. No, what happened last week, these retailers were like cutting open those bags, taking out the foils and selling those like doing like a sale or a bidding or auction or whatever the case might have been, um, with the books out of the bags before their publishing date,
Yeah.
not as a pre-order. And you buy it today, Thursday, Wednesday, or Friday, whenever they got it last week. You bought it, and they will ship it to you the next day. You will have it
Yeah.
even when you will have it even before your local store will have it on the shelves, which
Yeah.
is like the actual problem here.
Yeah. And like, so, and to be clear, what they could have done is go on Whatnot the second they got them and had people bid on them, and then, okay, you won this, put that to the side, and we will ship it to you with, because we can't cut it, we can't open it because it specifically says we're not allowed to show them, and we will send them to you and you'll get it on the release date. That is 100% okay. You're allowed to do that. I want to make that very clear. But instead, they're literally putting up the blind bag, having people bid on it. Once the auction's over, cutting it and showing, look, this is what you got. We'll ship that out to you. That
Or
is,
some others were cutting it open and displaying the foil variant and then selling it.
wow. See, I didn't see that. That's even worse.
That's what I'm saying.
That's even worse, because all the ones that because I went through, once I saw one doing it, I was like, hold up, nah. And when I literally went through, I think it was like 6 shows, and I was like, up they're ripping and shipping, ripping and shipping, ripping and shipping. Like, it's disgusting. And because, not for nothing, but I was doing an in-store signing yesterday in my local comic shop, and the owner's looking, going, wonder why more people haven't come in to buy Batman #1. And then we were talking. He was like, "Oh my god, I did see people doing that." It's not just me who just, oh, the humanity, the honor. How could you break all these rules? You're so mean. It's not just me who's upset at this. It's not just the buyers. It's other retailers that are getting screwed over because you decide, oh, fuck the rules. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want and I'm gonna sell them early. To what are they gonna do? Shut me down? They fucking should. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry for having so many F bombs in that one sentence. That's like the entire allotment for like the next 3 episodes.
Damn. So
Like,
I'm not gonna get to say F Dan Slot or F Joe Quesada in this episode. Damn. Thanks. I guess.
it's not me. Blame them. I'm so mad because of them.
Dan Slot and Jokic are safe in this episode from now on.
Because and again, if they were following the rules, they wouldn't have got letters from the distributors saying this is not what you were stated to do. Because I don't know if anybody how clear this is to everyone. When you do things like this, you sign contracts. Like you agree to the terms and conditions of the release, and whether or not they're looking at those like the user agreements on the Apple updates, or you just scroll all the way down and hit accept, is
Yeah,
irrelevant because you still accepted to that.
yeah.
Period.
There's a reason your LCS gets their shipment on Thursday or Friday, and they're sorting out those books, and they don't have an out for sale until Wednesday, because Wednesday and is when everybody is supposed to be in the same level playing field when it comes to retail of these books, right? I'm sure there's some antitrust laws against doing what these guys were doing and whatnot and whatever other platform. Um, if they get called out, good. If they get, they get some disease letter. If the publishers decide not to work with them anymore, or the distributors not work with them anymore,
Yeah.
you get what you ask for.
Yeah,
If you
that
make
seems to be they did send, like I said, a letter out to remind everyone of the rules.
Yeah,
It
at
was
the end
one
of
of
the
those
day, you made a
you
couple
might
hundred bucks maybe
you
up
might not
front.
be able to get future blind bags. Do they really care? Really? No. That's not a threat because the people who are willing to do this don't care about the rules.
Yeah.
Like what, what are we talking about here?
Yeah,
But
but that's what I'm
it's
saying.
sad.
Okay, y'all broke the rules. Y'all make a couple $100 maybe up front. But what happens if I don't know, the distributors decide not to play with you guys anymore because you guys are breaking some antitrust laws, or you guys are undercutting the rest of the market?
Yeah.
Like there could be some serious repercussions to that. Like
I hope
are
there
we gonna
is.
see them? I don't know. But if it happens, you know, that's on you. Nobody gonna feel sorry for you
Right.
if your account with Diamond or with your account with Penguin Distributors get canceled because you're out here, playing
Yeah.
unfair.
Then we'll see the IG post like, guys, I really need your help. I lost my ability to order books. Who's gonna donate money to
Penguin is
save me?
canceling me because I make the most sales. Blah, blah. You already know, because I'm one of the
Exactly.
most successful. They're hating. The Matrix is trying to put me down. You already know. You
Oh
already know
yeah.
where all this is
Oh
going.
yeah. And it's
But
sad, but
yeah, we just wanted to bring that up for you guys to be aware of what's going on the retail side of this. But I did take a look of that Batman #1, and I want to say, even I'm not the biggest Batman fan, I think it's good. I think it's a
okay,
good
hold on.
start.
I'm gonna call you on this every single time now. He may not be a real Batman fan, but it's the most read person in his library. Granted, he is everywhere, but he's still the most read in your library.
That was not intentional, okay?
It doesn't matter who is intentional.
It, it's not my fault that every DC book that I want to read, Batman's in it, okay? It's not my fault. So
No, and
that's why.
I didn't get myself a copy. I'm sure I'll end up reading it. But yeah, I didn't. I got so disgusted by the practices that people were doing. I was like, I don't even want to give DC my money for this because while the true blame goes to the retailers that are doing these shady things,
Yeah, these cave
in the
dwellers.
end, DC is only one or the reason why it's happening. Because if they didn't do it like they did, because, like I said, there were people who were waiting on they didn't get their shipments until Sunday when people were selling them on Thursday. So I understand that you can't control all aspects of the shipping process. I get that, but like a whole bunch of days? I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, while it's possible, it smelled a little fishy to me. That's all I'm saying.
What's the next on the agenda now that we
All
kill
right,
all these
next on
blind
the
bags?
agenda. So now that we've got our anger out, we're gonna talk about the probably the most angry person in all of comics, Wolverine. As anyone's been keeping up with our channel, you know that one of the few big two titles that we've covered 100% on this channel so far has been the new Ultimate Wolverine run because we are enamored with it. We love how good it's been, and we are now going to do our critique of Ultimate Wolverine number 7 and 8, which means the next time you hear from us about this, it's gonna be the last time because it's only a 10 episode run.
Unless it gets extended,
It already got extended to 10, so
unless
I
it
don't.
gets extended again.
Marvel, please. I'm asking nicely. All right, so let's catch everyone up on Ultimate Wolverine as a whole so far. So basically, to sum it up, in this Ultimate universe, Logan was a member of Resistance that got captured and turned into the Winter Soldier. He has killed a whole bunch of his friends, unbeknownst to him.
He was
He
brainwashed.
he was
He ended
brainwashed.
up being as a weapon
Yep.
by the Eurasian Republic, which is led by the Rasputins, Colossus, Magic, and Omega Red.
And they now at the later parts of the story, he has been saved. He is now back to his old self. He is now Logan again, no longer the Winter Soldier. And that's important for what we'll talk about in a second. Um, and now they're going on the offensive to try to take the fight to the Rasputins and maybe save their mutant kind brothers.
Right.
And we pick the
So
story up there.
so I think it's really cool that Logan was just another mutant, right?
Mhm.
He had a healing factor,
Yes.
and he was one of the mutants that was part of the opposition, right? The opposition is this underground movement of mutants fighting the Eurasian government, right? And when he got captured, there's clearly we now have evidence that he's not been the only one. He got put through this experiments, which is like the equivalent to like the Weapon X
Yeah.
program, and they infuse him with the adamantium skeleton, and they give him the claws, and then they brainwash him to be the Winter Soldier. So imagine the Winter Soldier Bucky Barnes from the MCU, but he has the healing factor and the adamantium skeleton and the claws as Wolverine. So he was out there doing the dirty work for the Eurasian Republic.
Yeah.
He had killed fellow mutants like
Nightcrawler,
Nightcrawler, like Mystique,
Mystique.
and a bunch of other like soldiers that actually belong to the Republic. Now they rescue him, they deprogram his brainwashing, and now he's back to Logan. And on issue number 7, he is fully back consciously into like his own body, his own mind, but he also remembers everything that he did as the Winter Soldier, and he's kind of like struggling with the idea of being worth the the efforts that the opposition's
Right.
has like the lengths they have gone to, not just to save him, but to reincorporate him as part of their army, right?
Yeah.
Because he's wrestling with the idea that he killed all these people, he did all these horrible things, and he thinks that maybe deep down that Winter Soldier berserker was always there because he's still the Logan that we know. He's still this angry furball little man that
Yeah.
has this, this rage about him. Like that wasn't put there by the opposition,
Right.
because when he's back to his old self and he sees Sabretooth, which by all accounts they were buddies in the opposition, you could tell that they still have like this sort of like frenemies kind of relationship, and they were ready to like jump up each other's throats, which was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well,
And
and like so with Logan, he's always been this character where he is a victim to his own memories. He doesn't know them or they curse him. So in this rendition, I really, really liked how they had that conversation, him and Kitty talking about how, like you said, everything that I did was always there. They just kind of unleashed it,
Right.
and he is at war with himself because he doesn't know if he even deserved to be saved, and we find he even flat out says that in
Hmm.
issue 8 too. But he is very scared of his powers. He feels like the killer that they all see now was always there. He just hadn't used it. And the when him and Sabretooth almost fought in issue 7, it was because,
Over nothing. Over
well,
nothing.
no, it wasn't over nothing.
No.
It was a miss. So we talked about in before when he had that flashback. Wolverine, well, sorry, Logan made Sabretooth promise to take him out and not let him be one of their puppets, one of their weapons. So what he did when he first saw him, he kind of confronted him on that. It's like, great job you did killing me. And
Yes.
and then Sabretooth basically says, well, I didn't have a chance when they captured you, and we've been searching for you this whole freaking time. But the second I saw you in the bar, I thought maybe I can save him. And looks like I was right. You could say you're welcome.
Right.
Like,
And Logan was like, "No, you shouldn't kill me."
what?
And Sabretooth was like, "Well, it's not too late."
Right. Yep. And then Kitty was like, okay, boys. All right. All right. But, and I really like they've done such a good job at hitting Chris Condone. Shout out to you for this story because you hit on every single one of the Wolverine tropes in a fresh new way.
Yeah, the core elements are there. Weapon
Yeah.
X, the abilities, the characterization, the thing with the memories, the rivalry with Sabretooth. Like a lot
Yeah.
of like it's like very different, but very familiar at the
Yes.
same time. Right?
I think that's why we love it so much because it's our Wolverine told in a fresh perspective. And
Yeah.
it's really cool. I've been very impressed with the series all throughout so far.
So the other half of issue 7 was more of like a build-up of like the different sides of this army, right? Like you get the opposition, you get introduced to like who are the leaders, who are the shot callers, who else is there, and what they've been doing, gathering forces, and what's the next, what are their next targets and whatnot. And then on the flip side of that is Magic, um, trying to get answers from the scientists and the people
Yeah,
that work for them.
Dr. Prostovich.
Prostovich, yeah. Um, she's like putting the fear of God in this doctor that,
Mhm.
hey, we lost a Winter Soldier, we want him back, or we want something just as good, because he was not supposed to be deprogrammed. He was not supposed to. He was never supposed to um, rejoin his people
Right.
back. That wasn't supposed to happen. So therefore they're basically doing a show of strength by intimidating, just regular people.
And then
And
freaking Magic took this freaking doctor into
hell, yeah.
no, what no, it's not hell,
um,
purgatory.
Purgatory, that's her
Purgatory
realm.
with all the
Yeah,
demons and literally was having the demons like rip her to shreds without completely ripping her. Like they tortured her for
yeah,
hours to
yeah. They
get
were mess.
information.
They were
It
messing
was
with this doctor,
crazy.
and that's kind of like very, very consistent in the characterization of the Rasputins. Like they
Mhm.
will toss, they will sacrifice, they will dispose their own people to either prove a point, to test
Yep.
somebody's loyalty, or to test the capabilities of their weapons. We've seen that before. So that's kind of like where things ended with issue 7.
Very on brand.
Right.
Very,
Yeah, no, they're very USSR in that way. Yeah.
oh yeah.
um the issue number 8, we get this, for the first time ever, a mission, or like a rescue mission with Logan as part of the rescue party.
Yeah.
They send out a party to go rescue somebody else that they were tracking, have been kidnapped and experimented on, right? And we don't know who it is outside of, like, the foreshadowing in the cover.
Right.
um But they get to this facility, and it's just a mess. Like whoever was still working there was just slaughter. It's bloods, guts, bodies everywhere. They don't even get to fight. Like as soon as they get there, they were like, "Oh my god, this was kind of too easy. Like, where are the guards?"
Yeah.
And as they start to venture inside this facility, they start to see the trail of death
A
left
massacre. It
behind.
was it was horrible. Like,
Yeah.
and that's another thing about this Ultimate Run is that it's been a lot more gruesome than I remember from a lot of other comics in Marvel. But I also want to touch on the very opening pages of Ultimate Wolverine 8
Yes.
because the imagery was so stunning. You had Logan literally talking to himself, looking at his old uniform that they've now put a big X on for the Resistance, a big white X, and you can see in the background is a mirror, and it's Logan's face on one side, a crack, and then the Winter Soldier mask. So he's literally looking at these different version like of who he was, and then deciding to become something better. And he goes and joins the team. And we talked about this earlier. I completely missed it. They never called him Wolverine until that issue. Like that. So in issue Ultimate Wolverine issue 8, is 7 is technically the first time he's called Wolverine, and then issue 8 he goes and battles in that
He,
squad that you talked about.
yeah, he goes
Um,
out in a mission for the first time as Wolverine. And what
yeah.
you're talking about, like he wasn't just monologuing; he was doing this ritual where he like
Oh yeah, yeah,
cover his entire body in chalk. And part of the ritual was like a cleansing ritual where like they free themselves of these influences or demons or whatever the specific details was about it.
yeah,
And he covered his Winter Soldier uniform with chalk and made a huge X in front of it. Again, back to the same teams from the previous issue. He's still negotiating with himself whether he's worthy, whether he was worth saving,
yeah,
whether he should be out there, fighting the good fight with his friends after he was killing them as a Winter Soldier. Like he's still wrestling very, very, very much with that internal struggle,
yeah,
and it becomes apparent later. So they're in the facility. They finally find the person they were looking for, and it was Ultimate Angel, basically, right?
yeah.
There were some
Warren Worthington
reports,
the third.
yeah, there were some reports that Angel was seen in like America and whatnot, and people saw it, just saw a flying angel, right? They didn't really know who or what it was, but the Eurasian Republic captured him and experimented on him and upgraded his feather wings to some type of steel, some metal wings. But the problem with Angel was that he his mind didn't actually survive,
Yeah, his
like the
programming didn't
physical,
take.
yeah,
It
the
just
physical
it just fractured his
experimentation.
mind, and I think
So
that's
it
probably because of Wolverine's healing factor. That's why it worked on him, and not because it seems like what they did was when they tried to do it to Angel, it just scrambled his brain because all he could say was, "I won't let you. I won't let you. I won't let."
right,
No matter what was said to him, no matter what was going on, "I won't let you" is the only thing he could say.
because that's one of the things that we kind of like overlook always when we talk about Wolverine in any context, because he not only needed to survive the adamantium installment into his body, right? But the physical pain, the trauma that causes, psychological, neurological, and emotional trauma as well. That can, like you said, scramble your brain, right? Like people, like regular people in the regular world, can pass out from pain, can throw up from pain,
Yeah.
can cause, PTSD, a psychological trauma, right? And
Check,
the only
check, 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 check.
right,
Sorry.
Wolverine was able to be Wolverine, like Logan was able to be the Wolverine at the end of all that, because not only he healed physically, but his brain also healed.
Yeah.
To one extent, right? They, erase his memories or brainwash him or whatever.
Yeah, it
Um,
depends on which, version of Wolverine. Sometimes he
right,
can't remember, sometimes he can, but for the most part, he can heal from he's healed in different comics from a little drop of blood. So,
exactly. So other people that don't have that healing factor can survive the physical part of the experiments, but the psychological aspect of it, they're not gonna come out on the other side the
right.
same, right? And that's what we saw with Angel. Like he wasn't there. He wasn't just some bloodthirsty mutant that decided to just murder everybody in that facility.
No, he's just
He
defending
was
himself.
he was just not there
Yeah.
because
He saw everything as a threat because he like literally he all he could say was I won't let you. And anytime like when they first saw him, they walked in nice and calm. He's still I won't let you. I won't let you. And then they got his attention. And he's then that's when he just strike. He immediately freaking killed Beast and what's the other one? He killed those
um,
two people he killed right then, off
um,
the bat.
the lady with the green hair,
Yeah. So, I
um,
can't think of her name. Um
she
She
is.
was like the one like the leader of the of that mission, like, she was in charge,
Yeah, no,
and
but
just
in the 616, she was like the director of the sword
yeah,
program. Abigail Brand.
there we go, Brand. I don't know why I kept thinking Rand, and I'm like, "That's definitely not it."
Yeah, Abigail Brand, like the character that you saw in the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
That's this
Oh,
version.
and real quick before we continue on that, I wanna give a shout out to Gambit of this Ultimate Universe because when they got to that facility, he literally took down every single bit of protection single-handedly without breaking a sweat. He blew up a wall here, he freaking took out all the landmines with one shot, and just, like, they just strolled in, and I think that was part of the reason why they were not on edge because they didn't have like they weren't even Wolverine did notice it like this is something's
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
but like
Eventually, it became apparent that
but like
even though
they
Gambit was very capable, because we seen him before, be very um, what's the word?
powerful.
Powerful, but creative with his ability too.
Yeah,
Like in that that one scene a few issues ago when they're like walking through, um, they're like loading up in this facility and they get the notice that somebody was infiltrating through the sewers. He has set up a bunch of traps. They were like chess pieces,
yeah,
and he just blew up these little chess pieces and completely took out everybody that was trying to infiltrate except the Winter Soldier.
yeah,
So he's not just the, you know, capable and powerful Gambit that you know, but he's very creative too with how he
yeah,
uses his abilities.
yeah, he's very
um
adaptable in this this version of him. I definitely not for nothing because like the reason why he was even a battle and uh Gambit didn't just kill him is because they see another mutant and they want to try to save him.
they were
And
trying to
then
save him,
and
yeah.
Wolverine basically was like, should we? Like, not for nothing, but is he worth it? Was I worth it? Like, is this real? Like, we're weapons. They made us dangerous. He's arguing with the rest of the this resistance group that I think what they call it the
The opposition.
no, but they titled this group when before they left. It was like something force.
Man, I'll look into it. Keep
But
going.
so yeah, they had they all take down after a great battle with which was a lot more gruesome than I thought.
I got it. It's Strike Team X.
There we go. Strike Team X, and he's yelling at them like includes Kitty, someone who he really truly cares about and understand knows him, who was basically telling him earlier like a couple issues before, like you're part of our family. That means you like this. We're for better or worse, we love you, and he's still going looking at them like,
Yeah,
am I worth this?
yeah.
Is he worth this? Like, shouldn't we just put him out of his misery? Like, isn't that what you should have done to me? Like,
See,
what's like,
and that's the brilliance of the writing
yes,
by Chris Condon, because that's when Logan's internal conflict um, is externalized, because he's basically um, telling them what they should do with Angel, because he thinks um, That's exactly what they should have done with him. He
Yeah,
still hasn't let go of the notion that they should have put him down instead of saving him, because everything that he did as the Winter Soldier in his eyes makes him not worthy of
yeah,
their time, of being saved, of being now part of the opposition. So when he sees somebody that reminds him literally of his situation, he said, "Nah, get rid of him, and and maybe get rid of me too."
yeah.
That's
And
some great writing right there.
absolutely, and the thing about when you talk about and we keep saying about how you hit specific notes with Wolverine. That's Wolverine. Like he always he did the same thing with Professor X. Like should you have let me be an X-Men? I'm basically a monster. You know that's always constant with him. And I'm really looking forward to see how they wrap this up. You said, maybe they keep extending it. I hope so, more than anything, because this is, besides Exquisite Corpses, this is by far my favorite book of the year. I'm not saying it's the best book of the year, but don't people come out, he's a Marvel fanboy. No, this is personally, it's my favorite book of the year. The artistry is just so amazing. The story is phenomenal, and when you look at how they hinted at what can happen next, like, 'cause at the very end you see Colossus getting information about what they can do to really change everything, because Wolverine hears the doctor trying to get in touch with that facility because they want to use Angel, and
Yeah.
he just straight up was like, "You have my attention." I was like, "Oh, that's how you end it. That's how you end an issue. Holy shit, that is awesome!" Like it's just Chris is just next level, just absolutely
Well,
next level.
that was the ending of issue 7 with
Oh, right.
Colossus. They no, but it was you're pretty close, because in issue 7, when Maggie brings the doctor back from purgatory, um, that's when she said, "Hey, listen, I know we lost the Winter Soldier, but there were other stuff out there where there was other experiments that are just as successful." And she was
Yeah,
referring to Angel, I think. And then at the end of issue 8, um, Dr. Prostovich was trying to communicate with the personnel at the facility where Angel was, and um, the opposition were just so happened to be on their way out, and Logan saw her on like the video
yeah,
call, and she was like, "Oh, you're alive!" And Logan remember her, and he's like, "F you!" And he starts like
yep.
slashing
Just
away at the camera.
destroys the monitor.
Yeah, which is, it says a lot of things in like which is that one gesture, right? Logan remembers her, so
Yep.
he remembers what they did and who else is over there, right? If that wasn't clear, Dr. Prostovich now can go back to Colossus and them and tell them, "Hey, the Winter Soldier's still alive. If we can get our hands on him, we can brainwash him again. That's not a big deal, right?" So um, it's a twofold gesture there. Like, you saw the hope on Dr. Prostovich
Yes.
face, because this is self-preservation. Oh, I can get my toy back, and do the experiment, and hold back the wrath from the Rasputins.
Yep.
And then Wolverine like, "F you, Doctor, oh,
And
Prostovich,
then
I
he
hate you."
and who was that? They ask, and he goes, "Someone who's gonna be dead soon." Oh, like, yo, Chris Condone's hitting those exclamation points at the end of these last couple issues that have just been like unbelievable. Shout out to
Like,
Chris
mwah,
Condone.
like, mwah,
Mwah, chef's
magnifique,
kiss.
magnifique,
Magnifique. Mon
bravo.
ami. But yeah, so like we said, we're big fans of Ultimate Wolverine. The next two issues, as of right now, will be the final two issues. So, like I said, the next time we cover it, that could be the last time we cover Ultimate Wolverine, which is going to be sad for us. But we did enjoy it while it lasted. I hope it keeps going, and hope at the very least this version of Wolverine shows up again, because with his costume, with his beard. I'm sorry, he's one of the coolest looking Wolverines we've ever had. So I'm so in to see him show up in some Guardians of the Galaxy or something, crazy down the line, like somewhere, please, because I love him. But yeah, any final thoughts on Ultimate Wolverine?
No, I hope they extend it again. That's the only thing I gotta say.
Please, Marvel, please, we're begging you. All right, so moving on. We are going to now switch gears, and we're gonna see what's Year's issue, and we're gonna
Hey,
listen to Year's deathbed talk. While he talks about the differences between Hawkgirl and Hawkwoman.
you're killing me, Smalls.
No, you are not permitted to die on me. All right. Let's roll. Let's take a listen to what's Year's issue.
What is going on, comic book gang? My name is Janxi, aka Year of the Collector, and welcome to another episode of the series What is Year's Issue? Listen, I'm not naming anyone, but folks have been screaming at their phones when creating content and sharing their misinformed takes on Hawkgirl from the Superman film. I seen takes like, "That's not my Hawkgirl," or "This is not the Hawkgirl I grew up with," referring of course to the DC animated universe version of the character. I know you're already saying, but yeah, what's the issue? My issue is that most of these takes are leaving out a huge detail, and that is that Hawkgirl and Hawkwoman are not the same character, nor they are the same person. Shayera Hall, aka Hawkgirl, the one with the wings and the maze and the red hair from the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited shows, is technically Hawkwoman in the comics. Hawkgirl is somebody else entirely. Let me walk you through this Hawk mess, if you will. First, Hawkwoman is from Thanagar and has many reincarnations: Shayera, Shaira, Shahera, etc. She's an alien with wings from another planet. Yes, this is what all Thanagarians look like, more or less. She was once Hawkgirl, but no more. Let's start at the beginning. This all started in Flash Comics number 1 from 1939, where Shayera Sanders, the character, first debuted in comic books. But it wasn't until 1941 via All-Star Comics number 5 that Shayera first appeared as Hawkgirl. The character remained pretty much the same until 1981 when she decided to change her name from Hawkgirl to Hawkwoman. This took place in World's Finest number 274. This is the version we all saw in the animated shows, more or less. Hawkgirl, on the other hand, is a human of Cuban descent named Kendra Saunders. Her wings are made of nth metal and they are retractable. She first debuted in JSA Secret Files and Origins number 1 back in 1999. More than likely, this is the Hawkgirl version we see in the movie, or at least that might be the reason they casted a Latina actress instead of a ginger one. It wasn't because they race swapped the character, it was because they went with this other version of the character. Also, I understand the Hawks in DC have some of the most complicated origin stories because of all the retcons and reboots. So before the few of you watching that actually know all the lore of these characters start typing in the comment section that I'm wrong about Shiara or I didn't mention Shayera, listen, this is just an introduction level video to explain the difference between Kendra and the rest. To further illustrate this, here's an example of DC themselves trying to tell you they are not the same. You see who's who here, right? If that's not enough for you, here's Kendra and Shayera face to face in Justice League number 14 from 2018. Kendra even says, and I quote, "I've lived hundreds of lives, Shayera, And in all of them, I can remember I spent them with Carter Hall. I know that one of Carter's lives was your late husband, Qatar Hall. We should be the same person at some level at least, but we're not. Finally, so we can be all up to date in Hawkgirl's last series from 2023 by Jaxia Axelrod, Kendra Saunders was disconnected from all previous incarnations of Hawkgirls, permanently separating her from Shahira and the other female Hawks or Hawk adjacent lady characters. And that's some of the differences between Hawkgirl and Hawkwoman. I hope that helps. That does it for this episode of What Is Year's Issue from the Planet Nerdtooine podcast. If you like this type of content, make sure you give us a like and hit that subscribe button for more.
All right.
All
So,
right.
first and foremost, I'm gonna do a little acting about what people are gonna be like watching that when they're gonna. This is just what. Oh, I got you. Facts. Real information. Like, and again, thank you very much for putting that together while you were sick as a dog.
I didn't realize I sounded like that until you just play it now. Because I did it. I edited it and I put it on the share drive and I haven't watched it again until now. So now that I have my normal voice back, I was like, oh, as soon as you played it, I was like, oh.
Bro, I'm gonna stop making you laugh. I'm sorry. It's my nature to be funny. But yeah, that's the thing. And like you said, there were a lot of people that were like, "This is not what I wanted." Well, first of all, let's talk. Let's. We haven't talked about it on the show. Let's talk about Superman for a second. I wanted to hate it. Everyone knows me. I'm not a Superman fan. I really, really wanted to hate it. All the commercials, all the trailers. I'm like, this looks freaking horrible. This is gonna be the worst movie I've ever seen. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I finally watched it when it came on demand. And I have to admit, I was very impressed. There's a lot of things I didn't like, but like we talked about when we were talking about it, like I said, it kind of has like the Star Wars prequels feel to me, where I may not like everything in it, but the stuff that I do like is so good that I will watch it and enjoy it. Not to say that they're on the same level, because I think Superman was a very well done film. There were some lazy writing, in my opinion, but that's my opinion. And some things that I didn't like, but Hawkgirl was definitely not one of them. I mean, and maybe it's because I went in knowing, like in my head, going, well, this isn't the one from the Justice League; it's a different character. So obviously, I'm not going to expect a redhead who is in love with a Green Lantern. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not. That's what you wanted. I mean, you're okay. They could still potentially do something like that. This is the DCU. Gunn can do whatever the hell he wants. I mean, the so we have Superman and then Supergirl, Clayface, and then the Lanterns TV show, and then they just confirmed Superman,
Man
Man
of
of the
Tomorrow.
Future, Man of
Man of
Tomorrow
Tomorrow.
for 2027. Like, he's doing whatever he wants. If it's a good story, he's gonna do it. You know what I mean? So that's why you hear about Clayface. Like in theory, you're like, so you're telling me they're gonna put a Clayface out before they put out Batman? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. That's what Gunn is striving to do. And Hawkgirl, Hawkwoman, they're definitely different people. Okay? And I know that's hard for some of you to hear, that there are like real comics you can read to find this information out instead of just making your own assumptions. I know that's hard for some of you. Sorry,
Listen,
get a little heated.
the the fans of the Hawk characters, they don't mess around. There are actual www.hawkworld, hawkdays or hawkdog.com websites where people have been tracking the lore, the ins and outs, the retcons. There's even like not a family lineage tree graphic, but a reincarnation family lineage, if you will. Like,
Right.
oh, the first one was, Shahira Hall, and then the next reincarnation was whatever Hall, Shayera, and then for both, for Shayera and for Carter Hall,
Right.
right? Like all the different names, all like their lives, whether they were like a paleontologist or they were a doctor or they were a police officer or a detective, because every reincarnation, the character has a slightly different name, but they
Mhm.
have like a different career. They from different worlds or different parts of the country. They're different races. People, Hawk fans, like detail this to like the most minuscule, the most obscure uh, published history that you can think of.
And can I just say, can we have more freaking fandoms like that, please? I
I'm
mean,
telling you.
cause like, not for nothing, but it's not like you had to go like on a quest for the Holy Grail to find these hidden issues with a giant boulder gonna kill you. You just went, wait a minute, this exists. Let me go read it. Like,
And listen, the cool thing that I appreciate about the Hawk fans is that they're not going out of their way to correct people, to shame people, to embarrass people for not knowing, because they know it's convoluted as shit.
right.
And they're not out there being dicks about it. Well, actually, like Batman fans, Superman fans, Spider-Man fans, like fans of like big characters like that, you'll see them out there, you
Well,
know.
actually, with prep time, Batman can
Right,
defeat even the
right.
gods of gods.
For what I saw when I was doing research for this video, Hawk fans are nothing like that. So, big round of applause for the non-toxic Hawkgirl, Hawkwoman, and Hawkman fans. We love you. We, Ply
We
Nerdtooine, we
appreciate
salute you for
we
being
do. We absolutely do. And if there is a chairman of the board of the Hawk family fans, I want to interview you. I want you on this show. Okay? Because like I said, it something like this, and there's so many, because I saw them too. I saw the takes too, where it was like, oh, I can't watch this. Like I
This is
said,
not my Hawk Girl.
listen, I wanted to be that
James
guy.
Gunn
I
ruined
wanted to be
Hawk
the
Girl.
I wanted to be the guy that goes, "Ha ha, James Gunn, you sucked. It didn't work. Your crazy ambition. I did not think it was gonna work. It did on so many levels. And like I said, I had a lot of things I didn't like about it, but Hawk Girl was definitely not freaking one of them. And if that was your problem with the movie, then you're watching the movie for the wrong reason. And it comes off, you know, comes off a little racist. Just gonna say that.
Just a little
It comes
dash, just a little pinch.
And again, I'm not calling you that. I'm saying how it comes across, how it's
Yeah, a lot of these
interpreted
takes,
by the masses.
a lot of these takes were, they were they were like, you know, rubbing elbows with misogyny, rubbing elbows with racism, because for some reason, female heroes or female super characters are not allowed to kill people, right? But if that was Punisher that killed that same character in that same way, that would have been fine, right?
No, no,
And they're
actually, they
like,
would have
well,
complained it wasn't gruesome enough.
right, well, yeah, sure, but they're like, oh, Hawker would never do that. Okay, let's let's dive into media literacy here. You have a
Again,
character that shows up on camera screaming like a hawk, screeching through the halls of a Capitol building, hitting a giant monster with a mace in its eyeball. You think that saying lunatic is above killing bad guys?
no.
The one that was like, ah, that one, that's the one that wouldn't kill from everybody else in the film.
I
You're
mean,
sure about that?
really, the only one that didn't is Superman. Because if you watch that movie, There ain't no way all them people that Mr. Terrific beat up on that beach survived. I'm sorry. I'm
There,
sorry.
at the
There's
very
no
minimum,
way.
some of them were main free, like
Like,
they're disabled to some extent now,
and
especially, and then the ones that Guy Garner just
oh my god,
tossed
with the
in
middle
the
finger.
desert
Oh
with the
my, dead,
fingers and the
dead,
flying vehicles.
dead. Like,
Now,
but
if you was in one of those trucks, I'm sorry, you're
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 dead.
you're a goner.
And
If one of those
and
trucks landed on you, you're a
sh-
goner.
shout out to Mr. Terrific, that actor who portrayed Mr. Terrific, and that everything about Mr. Terrific was perfect. When I say I would watch a 4-hour Mr. Terrific movie before I watch the next Superman, I'll still watch Superman because, like I said, I liked it. But I would wait. I would wait in line, and I hate lines. I would wait in line to see Mr. Terrific movie, just for the
That's how
record.
good. Yeah,
He was amazing. But we got a little sidetracked. But yeah, she is not the same one that you saw from the Justice League TV shows, where, not for nothing, a lot of you are getting most of your information specifically and only from the animated TV shows.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
part of the problem. Like, they're great. Don't get me wrong. I love Justice League Unlimited. They're so good, but they're not technically comic book accurate. They're
yeah,
great shows on their own. They did take a lot of inspiration from the comics, but they're their own thing.
yeah. Trust me, Batman and Wonder Woman never have a thing in the comics, like they imply to do in the show. Um, Hawkgirl is not always from Thanagar,
Right.
right?
Yep.
What else is in there that is not
Hell,
accurate?
most of y'all didn't know that Barry Allen was even the Flash at one point.
Right.
Because that's not the Flash that you grew
A
up
lot
with.
of us grew up thinking that the Flash was Wally West,
Yeah,
right?
from
And
the get-go. And
yeah,
that was our Flash. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing, like, they're good. Don't get me wrong. The DC animated stuff, almost all of it is top tier, unbelievable, great stuff. So watch it, enjoy it, but don't think that is the only type of that character. Don't think that is the end all be all when it comes
exactly,
to the lore of that character. That's all we're saying.
exactly.
But yeah. Side note, like I said,
Yeah,
I wanted to
yeah.
hate
Like,
Superman, and I didn't.
I guess, like, when you boil it down to the this year's what is year's issue, comes down to, you know keeping up with the comic books, because, like I said in the video, as of 2023, Kendra Saunders is now no longer part of the
Right.
reincarnation lineage, right? And at one point, like she said herself in that Justice League book, they share a life. They're supposed to be the same person, but they
100.
weren't. Like, at one point, somebody decided that Kendra Saunders was her own person away from Shaira.
Right.
And that's the beauty of comics, right? Like, things can be one way for centuries,
Yeah.
because we're almost at that line that we're gonna
Yeah.
reach hundreds of years in comics, but things can change, and they can be for the better or for the
And they
worse.
do
But
change. Like, that's, you know what I mean?
exactly,
Not that they can, they do change. But yeah, definitely glad you talked about that because I saw those takes too, and I was not happy about it either. But yeah, so thank you again for, while you were dying, still finding a way to make that for us, because that took a lot of research, a lot of editing, a lot of speech. That's a 5-minute long speech you just did.
it took me a while to say all these lines without coughing.
Right. You had
I had to do a lot of takes.
but again, thank you. Yeah, and we love when we have the what is yours issue, because it's usually very informative and done in a very appealing way. Like, you're not just preaching facts. You're like, you throw in jokes, you throw in real slides, you throw in real covers. It's very, very good. We definitely, I'm glad that's a segment we have on this channel. But that being said, I am going to try to move us along a little bit, because
Yeah,
we've got a whole segment we got to do. We're going to talk about a really awesome indie comic that we read. We're all gonna kind of hint and kind of introduce a new segment that we're gonna be bringing to the channel soon. And I want everyone to know, anyone who's watching this who has sent us books to review, every single book we've received so far will get reviewed. There's not a single one that we were like, we don't want to do this. We've looked at all of them, but that we wanted to move this one up to the front of the line because they have an active Kickstarter campaign going on right now, and we want to help them get it fully funded. So we're going to talk about this really awesome comic called Sketch Night. It's written in the writer creator Braden Valoria, illustration and colorist done by Victor Silva, and letter and design by Amal Desai. It is a fantastic title. I know, Year, where I'm gonna let you start the jump off, and then we'll go from there. But it's great. Let's talk about Sketch Night.
Okay, so like Kyle was saying, this is still the campaign to back this project is still up on Kickstarter under Sketch Night. Sketch Night number 1. Um, they have about 17 days left in the Kickstarter, so it'll end about September 20th, September 21st. Go in their Kickstarter, check their mission statement, check the solicitation, and check the previews. I believe there's about 3 or 4 pages worth of previews, full pages with pencils, inks, colors, lettering, and I want to say main cover, and there's also the pictures for the B and C cover. So this is this project. It's very well planned out, thought out, and we can tell from the get go that it's a lot of effort that's gone into the campaign alone, right?
Right.
So the book itself, it's part of a shared universe, and this is something I specifically wanted to bring up during our review, because as an indie creator, your mission is to put like your book out there, right? And then eventually build on top of that, right? But this creator, Braden Viloria, he had already this idea for this world, this city, right? The shared universe is called Rook City Universe, which is like where these comics are going to take place, right?
Yeah.
The first campaign was called Heaven number 1. That was the first installment into this shared universe. And now Sketch Night number 1 it's basically the second installment into this shared universe.
Right.
And that all is explained in the mission statement in the Kickstarter. I'm going to read a little bit from it so you can get an idea of what they're going for here, right? It says, Sketch Night takes the quippiness of Spider-Man and mixes it with Full Metal Alchemist's inspired powers. Sketch Night is set in a world with no alien babies landing in wheat fields, no chemical reaction granting super speed, maybe a couple orphans turn vigilantes. Instead, people are affected by a human mutation granting them powers. These people are called enhanced. Heaven and Sketch Night, along with everything in the Rook City universe, grows and expands Rook City. The reason we focus on a city is so that it can grow and evolve alongside the stories told within it. This allows tie-ins of both series while still telling their own narrative, like how Daredevil and Spider-Man share New York City.
Right.
Very ambitious, right?
Very.
Very ambitious, very bold premise and idea to launch a shared universe with an indie campaign like this, right? The first one was successful, was fully backed, it was out, people read it, and we just found out about it now while, in the last final stretch for Sketch Night. The solicitation for Sketch Night number 1 specifically says, in an universe where enhanced are feared upon and shunned, there lives William Wiles, a senior in high school that hides the truth about himself. He is one of them. You see William go through the turmoil of living in a masked truth and trying to keep his city safe. Despite how grim the world turns, William faces danger with a quip, and his banter is steadfast, which is, by all accounts, very much a good description of who this
Yeah.
character is, right? Um, really quick synopsis of the plot. William is a disabled kid, right? He's bound to a wheelchair. Like the solicitation says, he's a senior in high school,
Right.
and he is a target for bullies, and you see that clearly, right, in the book. However, at night he ventures as a superhero. He has this magical sketchbook that whatever he draws in the sketchbook, it it comes out of the sketchbook into reality.
Right.
And with that, he creates this exoskeleton that allows him to full access to his limbs. He
Yeah.
can walk, and he can also create anything that he requires during the middle of the fight through the sketchbook, and he can also absorb things into the sketchbook.
Right.
And I guess he watches over, or he does his rounds. He patrols the city in this flying hoverboard
Which he
looking
just
thing
drew.
that he draws out of the sketchbook. Um, and his gear and the abilities that this grants him is always subject to either improvement or change, because you see him in the book, sometimes his gadgets don't work, and he said, okay, I gotta recalibrate that, meaning like I gotta
Right.
draw a better design or a better sketch of this equipment so I can bring it to life, so it can be um, better
Well, yeah,
in the
one of
operational
the
aspect of it.
one of the things he did was he redesigned his suit midway through the comic so that it would last longer. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and that is like, so when I first started looking at it, I was like, and reading a little bit of it, like, man, this is just a Spider-Man knockoff. It really, really isn't. It's so much different. And saying Full Metal Alchemy, that is one of my favorite animes, and one of the only ones I've watched. I truly watched that Full Metal Alchemist because he got a short character. Why wouldn't I watch it? But um, so what he does is throughout the story, he's making like weapons to take on bad guys. He's chasing after these people who stole something, and he's trying to still. He's got all the Peter Parker tropes where they're in
Quiff
high
and
school.
the
He's
banter,
trying to hide his identity from his friends
he's a
and equipping.
teenager.
Right. So you look at that, you're like, oh, this is just another ripoff. It is not. It's so well done. The art is really striking is the term I want to use, because it almost looks like he's drawing the entire comic as he's going, not just what we see in it, but almost feels like it's part of him, the comic. I'm very, especially as a creator, I'm very impressed with how well they place some of the like little, not Easter eggs, but like foreshadowing. Like you look at
Mm,
it early in the book, all the people at high school are afraid of his friend Lee, and it's made out there at the beginning to be because he's big and scary, and he's just nice to these people that he likes. And then you
right.
realize later that no, they're probably scared of him because they know who his family is. They know his
His father
family is is
specifically, yeah.
is basically the bad guys. They're the mafia. They're like they're it's almost like an allegory for what's the triads. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it kind of has that Asian triad feel with the demon
They
mask and
reminded me of
everything.
Mr. Negative's gang. The
Yeah,
way they
yeah.
dress up with like the black
Not
suits and
not to
ties,
have
and
not,
the Oni Japanese mask.
yeah, not to throw out another like, oh look, it's just like Spider-Man, but
Yeah, it's the
um,
influence, like
it's great.
it's the influence, right? Um, the um, the art specifically, I was very, very, very surprised by the quality level of the art, right?
Yeah,
It was very sharp, right? Like professional levels of storytelling when it came to the art, like panel structure, panel work.
yeah.
Um, the
The
um,
lettering was great too, especially with all of
lettering
the
was amazing.
when the powers
The
are being used. Oh man,
the Yeah, the art was
fantastic.
very consistent. Like everybody looked like the same character in every panel, every page
Yeah,
throughout the book. There was a myriad of techniques present in just this one issue, right? You have like force perspective, you have the Luca effect, you have panel breaks, which if Um, if I had to pick, my favorite page of the book is when he's flying around in his hovering board, and opposite of his direction is a police uh, car chasing the bad guys. And in the book, they have this U-turn motion
Yep.
of the character, and then you see him on the other panel following the action, and
Yeah.
that U-turn, like the trail blazing after, like the after effect, makes a U-turn and breaks behind, in front, and then around the panels, curving on the corner of the page, and then he points you to the direction, and then you see the
Yep.
characters just flying. Amazingly done,
Beautiful.
amazingly done, right? Like, one
See
of the
that, and
rules.
one of the pages I liked that had a similar thing where it was when Lee and the girl are walking up the fire escape, and the positioning of the panels, it was literally just a full page, and it was them, you see little by little them walking up, and
Right,
the perspective of like the quick drop to the edge, it was like,
for
what?
that, that's what's called
Wow.
force. And then you have two techniques in just that one page, right? Force perspective, because it's looking from the side of the building down to the street,
Hmm.
and everything is, it's drawn into that perspective from that angle. But then you have also the Luca effect, where you have the characters climbing the fire escape at different points until they get to the rooftop, right?
Yeah,
So
so good.
uh, amazingly done, amazingly done, loved it. um, you have, a lot of high energy, high intense action. You
Hmm.
have very colorful and vibrant live sceneries. Like, you can see the city in the background. There's no shortcut. Nothing's blurred out.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just swiped away in one color to feel a background. No, the city is very much part of the story. And
Yeah.
then they're also, as part of the storytelling through the art, you have like a change in tones. It goes from, um, vibrant colors and high intensity to like more use of blacks and shadows to give like a somber tone to the scene.
Yeah.
When Lee's brother and his father are back in their office, and they get that suitcase back, and it gives you that that sense of um evil. Like,
Yeah.
these guys are
Bad
evil,
guys.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and like the shadows are like consuming that scene completely.
Yeah.
The way they light, it's hitting them from the bottom up, like kind of like giving them a more scary look. It completely changes the tone from everything
Yeah.
else to like when those guys are together.
No, and I
um
also really liked when the different characters were thinking. They had like their face in the thought bubble, so you know who's thinking, and it know that it's not them actually saying that. Because like
yeah,
the main character, Sketch Knight, battles the this bad guy who also is enhanced. His name is Ryu, that we find out. And he's Ryu is literally like talking to himself, like, did that just come out the book? Wait a minute. And like I was so impressed with how, because you didn't get very much backstory at all on this character. He says like, I'll take care of it, and then goes and takes care of it. And then you're just supposed to like love this, like hate this character, but it was so well done. I mean, that
yeah,
bat, like his powers, the electric, and being able to manipulate electron, like it was just so well done. It
yeah.
felt like it should be on Marvel or DC. You know what
I
I mean? It
wasn't
was very much
expecting,
a
and
superhero.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I wasn't expecting the internal dialogue from different perspectives, right? Because whenever
So
you read
good.
an issue, you might get the POV from maybe a one or two characters, but basically everybody that was involved in that one scene leading up to the fight that the sketch now had with Rio, you could see everybody's thoughts about what was happening, right?
Yeah.
Um, um, Sketch Night thinking, "Oh my God, they're gonna find out who I am. Please don't judge me." And then um, Lee saying, "Oh my God, he's killing him," and then Barbara, the the tech the tech archetype girl, also sharing her thoughts. So like you could see what everybody was thinking
Yeah.
about what they were seeing. Right,
So good.
that was pretty cool. Like I was not expecting that,
And
and
I can't think of another book that does that. You know what I mean? That's in comics when everything's been done. I've never seen that before. At least personally. Now maybe someone's done it before. And I'm
not
not
from the
trying
get
to.
go. Not from the get go. Sometimes you could have like multi perspectivity, like we talked about on the
Right.
channel before, right? But it doesn't happen from the get go. Like either you get the story told, presented to you from a different perspective, right?
Right. They
Or
kind of retell it from a
right,
different
like
perspective
it's
versus
it's retold
having
with
it all
different
together.
art or from like a different angle, right? Or you can have characters sitting down like a type of like an interview like Tom King does sometimes, and they would like retell their accounts of the events that
Right.
passed, right? Basically they're retelling the same event as the others from their experience, but you typically don't see um, other people's thoughts on
Yeah.
what's going on in the moment.
As it happens. Yeah. This we can't say enough about how good of quality this book is, not in terms of just the story and the art, but just the general presentation of it. The Kickstarter looks fantastic. They've got great covers. So if you can, please do us a favor as a favor to the channel. Take a look at Sketch Night #1 on Kickstarter now. I'll include a link in the description as well, so make it a little bit easier for you. But yeah, I am really excited to see this. I kind of have Sketch Night as almost a cross between Spider-Man and Static Shock when you talk about personality wise, and then you have this magical book and art aspect that is just the way they do it on the paper. It's just freaking stunning. It
Yeah,
really truly is. And I'm we're gonna talk about this new segment we're gonna be doing soon called Hooked by the Book. So that would basically it's a book we didn't either that we were gonna like, or it's not widely known, so we didn't know what to expect. And the first issue that we read just hooks us into reading the rest of the story. And this is definitely Sketch Night #1 is definitely going to be in that hooked by the book contest that we will debut and tell more about in future episodes. But
yeah.
um,
There's a reason we're talking about this book specifically right now because we received some submissions from other creators that wanted us to review their book, but those other books either have more time on their campaigns or they already been out published
right,
or whatever the case may be. But this one got 17 days left, and they haven't reached their funding
they're getting
goals
there.
yet.
We want to help them
So
get to that
we
goal.
want to do whatever we can to push them over the hump because we not only um, believe that this is a good book, but we want to support it, and we also believe in the whole the entire scope of the
Yeah,
concept that these creators are putting out there. These guys know what they're doing from the presentation on the Kickstarter, the video montage, the voiceover, the mission statement, the covers. It's really well put together. So we
yeah.
wanted to give them a shout out and and spread the word. Sketch Night #1 on Kickstarter.
Yeah, and the final thoughts on this book. I mean, in this entire concept, like you said, dude came out with a connected universe off the jump as an indie creator. That shows a lot of not only confidence but a lot of hard work they've already put into this before it even got to this point. So at this point now, when we hear about it, when we're not being paid to say this either. I mean, the only thing that
No,
technically we got the book for free so we could do the review.
a
That's
review copy.
really
Yes.
the only compensation we've received is the book is the to read it ourselves. And we're just that we enamored by it that we wanted to push it and hopefully help get it over its goals so that they can make it happen and continue with this great connected universe. But I
Yeah.
think we somehow managed to pack everything we needed to say in just a little bit over our normal time somehow. But before we go, I want to send a quick shout out and a request. any creator, indie or otherwise, who has the ability to vote in the Ringos, please do me a favor personally. I'm asking not as Planet Nerdtooine, I'm asking as Kyle Goodman, the writer of Here Walks Monsters, and a part of that community. One of our own, a small indie creator, Jason Douglas, was nominated for a second Ringo nomination now for his great title, Jane American. And if you have the ability to vote, please consider giving him a vote. He's up against big names like Tom King and James Tynion, but we want to show that he belongs there because his titles and his work absolutely do. And I hope that we can get him some votes. So if you're a creator of any type of comic book stuff and you're a professional, please consider voting for Jason Douglas and Jane American. And that's my spiel. My good friend here, do you have any final thoughts?
No, hey, thank you for sticking around this long. This is Planet Nerdtooine, the most punk rock podcast in the world. That's an internal joke. I have to throw it in there to tease Kyle. But no, be on the lookout. We're gonna be covering more indie stuff, more stuff happening in the world and the community of comic books. And thank you for being here. This is what, our 11th, 12th episode.
This is an episode 12. I mean, we did do
Yay.
a one episode had 2 parts, so we're almost at Lucky 13 kind of. But yeah, 12 episodes in.
Yeah,
We're
issue
starting.
12.
People are issue 12. People are
Hopefully
really starting
we get
to,
extended. We get extended to 18, so we can write another trade in this series.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say extended.
Hey!
But until next time, this is Nerdtooine and you're the collector. Until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.